G'day, how you going? In this video I'm going to be painting a Mark 6 Legionnaire from the Night Lord's Legion. I chose to start from a black spray undercoat to give the blue armour a real midnight sort of tone, and the primary colour I chose for this was Abyss Blue from Two Thin Coats. Abyss Blue is a bit more pale than say Cantor Blue from Citadel, and that's why I wanted to use it with the black undercoat to really give that cold feel to the armour, being sure to keep the coats thin, and it took about 3 passes to get a solid colour. I like to use a larger old brush for the first couple of coats, but then move to a more controlled size when I apply the last coat, just to make sure I don't overbrush and to keep the final layer looking as smooth as possible. Then moving to shading on the armour panels, I used Doom Death Black from Two Thin Coats. Really watered this down though, as it is the black of the range and it will easily overpower the blue. But as always, nice and thin, 2:1 water to paint ratio and not overloaded on the brush. Try to keep the brush strokes controlled too, guiding the paint to the dark areas, then lifting and going again, working your way around one panel at a time. Remember to be patient with this method of glazing. It will take several layers to build that shadow effect, and also remember if it looks too strong, just use a bit of Abyss Blue in the same method by glazing over the black and toward the lighter areas until happy with the blend. I probably jumped the gun here and started filling in all the recess armour joints in Vallejo Black. Reason why I say this is you'll see next is because if you make any mistakes from now, you'll have to whip out the black again and fix it up. But if I had left it, then there's no need to really worry about it and just fill in the black when the blue armour was complete. But anyway, moving on, Eldar Robe from Two Thin Coats was used to glaze over the lighter areas of the blue armour to create a bit of a light reflection, but also I'd say to be used as a good marker for the latest little addition to the armour. Just use the exact same method and formula from the shading we did earlier, but guiding the brush toward the upper areas of the armour. I did find Eldar Robe to be very vibrant, so be warned it can go very bright very quickly. Keep the coats watered down and very little on the brush at a time. Next I used matte black from Army Painter and ran it into all the lined recesses areas on the armour. The more watered down, the easier the flow and cleaner the look. Just a little tip. So with that, the blue should be done. So moving on to the metallics, I used a dark silver for the areas on the backpack and also the strapping on the chest. Any silver you have on hand should do just fine. I personally use dark silver from Pro Acryl. Then using the matte black from Army Painter again, I went over the studs on the shoulder pad and also the tubing on the backpack. I then shaded all these areas with Oblivion Black Wash from Two Thin Coats. I then started on the bolt gun and chose Oily Steel from AK Interactive for the metal areas, but I also chose to use it on the studs on the pauldron. Night Lords have been seen to have some brass areas too, but I wanted to keep it as far away as possible from looking like an ultramarine. So I used a little bits of tin on the little emblem on the bolt gun before shading both the metallic areas on the bolt gun and the brass areas in the studs with Oblivion Black Wash. I then went back to Oily Steel and edge highlighted the other silver areas. The bits of tin area was then highlighted with Rusty Gold from AK Interactive. Now for the casing of the bolt gun, again because Ultramarines and Night Lords at a glance are very similar, I chose to have a nice red, and for the base I used Dirty Red from AK Interactive before glazing over with Black Red to deepen the tone to match the rest of the Marine. I then used thin lines of Vermilion Red from AK Interactive to highlight the edges around the bolter casing. I was a bit torn on the eyes actually. I wanted to do a yellow, but thought overall the red would be a bit more menacing, so filled in the lenses with a white and then glazed over with a heavy glaze of blood letter from Citadel. Okay, so as mentioned before, the Elder Robe, I used this colour again and began building areas around the armour to give a look like the light was reflecting, and this would be the base of the lightning. There are many ways I've seen for lightning, and I wanted to give this one a go. So basically it's more like a stormy cloud surface and lightning has lit up its surroundings. So slowly build up spots where the lightning is originating from with a strong solid layer of the Elder Robe, while scratching lines for runoff for streaking lightning. I then used Celestial Blue from Two Thin Coats and began the same process but further into the cluster, if you will. Personally, I think the scratchier the look, the better. Actually, it looks a little bit more natural. So don't focus too hard on getting the lines and the actual consistency of the paint perfect, unless it's a look you're actually trying to achieve. Bear with me here, it will come together. Next step was adding some Fenrisian Grey from Citadel, and this again was just applied in the same manner, but yet again smaller again. And this time start defining those actual streaks to the lightning. So I focused on that central part where the lightning was coming from, and then also adding to the streak offs with a little bit more thinner lines. Now going back again to our good old friend Elder Robe, I glazed down to a wash consistency and began smoothing out some of the surrounding areas and also softening some of that harsh bright blue. Not only did this clean up the effect a bit, but also emphasised that crack of electricity on a dark cloudy background. Then finally, using straight white, emphasised the contrast and dotted it on the larger lightning arcs. And that's it, a Night Lord in Mark 6 armour. A couple of things on this one. The scheme itself was really easy and quick, so a good choice if you're wanting to get squads of these on the table quick. But that lightning was a real pain to do on camera, so I gave another go off camera on the shoulder plate, as you can see there, and I still think it looks very natural to me. But anyway, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think, or even of any future suggestions you'd like to see. I'd love to see your comments down below. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.